Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Relationships. Let's dive into a situation that most of us have faced at some point. What do you do when someone distances themselves and starts ignoring you? Maybe it's a partner, a close friend, or someone you care about deeply. One day, things seem fine, and the next, they're pulling away, leaving you confused, hurt, and questioning everything. It's a tough spot to be in, isn't it? You're left wondering, what did I do wrong? Should I reach out, or is it better to wait? The silence can feel unbearable, and the more you think about it, the more it starts to eat away at your peace. It's human nature to want to fix things, to close the gap, to make them come back. But let me tell you something important. Folks, chasing them, overthinking, or reacting impulsively isn't the answer. In fact, it often does the opposite. It drives them further away. Here's the truth. When someone distances themselves, it's not just about what they're doing, it's about how you respond. And this is where most people go wrong. They focus all their energy on the other person, trying to figure out what they're thinking or feeling. But Stoicism teaches us a different approach. Instead of trying to control what's outside of you, their actions, their feelings, their decisions. Stoicism invites you to focus on what's within your power, your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. Think about this for a moment. When someone pulls away, what's your first instinct? For many of us, it's to close the gap, to reach out, to fix things. But what does that really achieve? It puts you in a position of chasing, of seeking validation from someone who's actively pulling away. And trust me, folks, that kind of energy isn't attractive. It's exhausting, both for you and for them. So, what's the better approach? How do you handle this with strength, grace, and confidence? That's what we're going to explore today. I'm not here to give you quick tricks or manipulative tactics. What I'm offering are timeless principles rooted in Stoicism, principles that help you reclaim your peace, your power, and your focus. This isn't just about making them regret pulling away. It's about using this experience as an opportunity to grow, to strengthen yourself, and to become someone who commands respect and attention without needing to demand it. Let me ask you something. Folks, why does their distance hurt so much? If you're honest with yourself, it's not just about their actions. It's about what it triggers inside of you. Maybe it makes you feel rejected, unworthy, or forgotten. But here's the thing, those feelings, as real as they are, don't define you. You have the power to shift your focus from what's missing to what's within you. That's where your strength lies. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When someone distances themselves, they're creating an event you can't control, but your response? That's entirely within your hands. And folks, when you shift your energy from chasing to grounding yourself, amazing things start to happen. Not just in your relationships, but in your life. Now, I know what you might be thinking. If I don't do anything, won't they just forget about me? It's a fair question, and it's one that comes from fear. But here's the truth. People rarely forget someone who handles themselves with grace and confidence. When you stop reacting emotionally and start focusing on your own growth, you become someone worth noticing again. Not because you begged for their attention, but because you showed that you didn't need it to thrive. So, stick with me, folks. In this video, we're going to explore strategies and mindsets that not only help you navigate their distance, but also empower you to come out of this stronger than ever. These steps aren't about playing games or trying to manipulate them into coming back. They're about shifting the focus from them to you, your growth, your peace, and your power. But before we dive into it, let me remind you of one important thing. You're not alone in this. We've all been there. And the fact that you're here right now means you're ready to take control of the situation. So, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I am in control of my response. That's the first step in reclaiming your strength. And folks, if this is already resonating with you, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. By joining our Stoic Relationships community, you're not just learning how to handle situations like this, you're building a stronger, more confident version of yourself. Don't forget to like this video, too, if you're ready to take that first step toward reclaiming your peace. Now, let's get started. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have not only the tools to handle their distance, but also the mindset to approach any relationship challenge with strength and clarity. Let's dive in. Number 1. Break free from the craving. Let's start with something that holds many of us back. Folks, the craving for their attention. When someone distances themselves from you, it's natural to want them back. You think about them constantly, replaying conversations in your head, wondering what went wrong, and hoping for a message or call that doesn't come. It feels like the more they pull away, the more you need them. But here's the truth. This craving is what keeps you stuck, not them. Craving their attention isn't just about missing them. It's about what their absence triggers inside of you. It makes you feel rejected, invisible, or even unworthy. Your mind starts creating a story that ties your value to their presence. If they come back, I'll feel whole again. If they don't, I'll never be enough. Sound familiar? But here's the thing, folks, those stories aren't real. They're just your mind's way of filling the silence. And the more you believe them, the more power you give away. So, how do you break free from this craving? It starts with awareness. Take a moment to recognize what's really happening when you're consumed by thoughts of them. Are you truly missing them, or are you craving the validation their attention used to bring? When you can separate your emotions from their actions, you start to reclaim your power. Next, focus on redirecting your energy. Think of craving their attention like being stuck in a loop. The more you think about them, the deeper you sink into that loop. Breaking free means finding something else to focus on, something that serves you. Maybe it's a project you've been putting off, a hobby you love, or even something as simple as getting outside for a walk. These small actions don't just distract you, they remind you that your life is bigger than their absence. One powerful tool to help with this is mindfulness. When your thoughts start spiraling, pause and bring your attention back to the present moment. Notice your breath, the sensations in your body, or the sounds around you. This isn't about ignoring your feelings. It's about creating space between you and the craving. That space gives you the clarity to see that you don't need their attention to feel whole. And here's another truth. Folks, craving their attention often makes them pull away even more. People can sense when you're energetically chasing them, even if you're not saying a word. But when you break free from that craving, when you show that your happiness doesn't depend on their actions, you become magnetic. Your energy shifts from needing them to valuing yourself, and that shift is powerful. Let's not forget the importance of self-compassion. Breaking free from craving their attention isn't easy, and you're bound to have moments where you slip back into old patterns. When that happens, don't beat yourself up. Instead, gently remind yourself, it's okay to feel this way, but I choose to focus on myself. Each time you bring your focus back to your own growth, you're building a stronger foundation for the future. Another strategy to help you let go is reframing your perspective. Instead of thinking about what you've lost, think about what you're gaining by letting go of the craving. You're freeing up energy to invest in yourself, to reconnect with your passions, and to build a life that feels fulfilling. whether they're in it or not. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting their actions control your peace. Here's a practical step you can take today. Write down one thing you've been craving from them. Maybe it's attention, validation, or reassurance. Then ask yourself, how can I give this to myself instead? For example, if you've been craving validation, think about a time when you felt proud of yourself. Reflect on what you achieved and how it made you feel. This simple exercise shifts the focus from what they're not giving you to what you can give yourself. Take a moment right now, folks, and repeat this affirmation: I choose freedom. Write it down in the comments below and let it be a reminder that you're in control of your happiness. And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights like this. We're building a community of strength and resilience, and I'd love for you to be part of it. Let's keep this journey going, one step at a time. Number 2, step back and disappear gracefully. Let's talk about something that's counterintuitive but incredibly powerful, folks. The art of stepping back and fading out of sight. When someone distances themselves from you, the natural reaction is often to close the gap. You might feel tempted to text, call, or find ways to stay visible in their life. But here's the truth. Sometimes the best move you can make is no move at all. Stepping back isn't about playing games or giving them a taste of their own medicine. It's about respecting their space and, more importantly, reclaiming your own. Think of it like a pendulum. The harder you push toward them, the more they swing away. But when you stop pushing and let things settle, the energy shifts, and they may start to notice your absence in a way that words could never achieve. This is where the concept of disappearing gracefully comes in. Fading out of sight doesn't mean vanishing completely or being cold and distant. It means intentionally pulling your energy back in a way that's calm, composed, and confident. It's about stepping back from the noise, letting the dust settle, and creating a sense of intrigue. Start by pausing your attempts to stay connected. Have you been the one initiating conversations, checking their social media, or trying to stay in their orbit? If so, take a step back. Resist the urge to reach out, even when it feels uncomfortable. This isn't about cutting ties. It's about breaking the cycle of dependency and giving both of you the space to breathe. Here's a different way to think about it. Folks, imagine you're on a stage with bright lights shining down on you. By stepping back and fading into the background, you create room for them to notice the quiet. That silence becomes your most powerful message. It's not about ignoring them. It's about showing that you respect their distance and aren't chasing after what isn't being offered freely. During this time, focus on shifting the spotlight back onto yourself. Fading out of sight isn't just about what you stop doing. It's about what you start doing for yourself. Reinvest your time and energy into things that bring you joy, fulfillment, and growth. Maybe it's working on a personal project, reconnecting with friends, or even diving into something new that excites you. These actions aren't just distractions. They're declarations that your life isn't defined by their attention. Fading out gracefully also creates a sense of mystery. When you're no longer constantly visible or available, it shifts the dynamic. People tend to notice what's missing when it's no longer there. Your absence becomes noticeable, and with that comes curiosity. Why aren't they reaching out? What's changed? That intrigue can be far more effective than any message you could send. But let me be clear, folks, this isn't about manipulating someone into noticing you. It's about demonstrating your self-respect and your ability to step back with dignity. It shows that you value your peace over their presence, and that you're strong enough to create boundaries, even when it's hard. Now, let's talk about managing your mindset during this process. Stepping back can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to being the one who keeps the connection alive. You might worry that they'll forget about you, or that this distance will become permanent. But here's the thing. True connections don't disappear because you step back. In fact, creating space often allows both people to gain clarity about what they want and value. To help you through this, remind yourself of this principle. You can't lose what's meant for you. If they're truly meant to be part of your life, your graceful absence won't push them away. It'll draw them closer. And if they're not, stepping back frees you to focus on the relationships and opportunities that truly align with your worth. Here's an exercise for you, folks. Take a moment to identify one area where you've been overextending yourself in this relationship. Maybe it's initiating every conversation or constantly being available. Write it down and commit to pulling back in that area for the next week. Let this be a time to reset, not just the dynamic with them, but your focus on yourself. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, my worth isn't tied to their attention. Drop those words in the comments below if you're ready to embrace this step. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. This is just one piece of the puzzle, folks, and I'm here to guide you through every step. Let's keep building your strength and clarity together. Number 3, build your inner shield. When someone distances themselves or ignores you, it's easy to feel vulnerable. Your emotions might feel raw, like you're exposed to every little action or inaction on their part. But here's the truth, folks. The only way to regain your sense of control is to build your inner shield, a mental and emotional resilience that protects you no matter what's happening around you. This isn't about shutting off your emotions or pretending not to care. It's about forging strength within yourself so that their actions, or lack thereof, don't define how you feel. Let's dive into how you can start building this shield today. First, let's address the role of perspective. When someone pulls away, it's tempting to take it personally. You might think, what did I do wrong? Why am I not enough for them to stay? But here's the reality. Most of the time, their distance says more about them than it does about you. Maybe they're dealing with their own struggles, doubts, or fears. By shifting your perspective to realize that their behavior isn't a reflection of your worth, you're already starting to strengthen your shield. The next step is to practice emotional detachment. Now, this doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting their actions control your inner peace. Think of it like this, folks. You can still care about someone while refusing to let their behavior dictate your happiness. Emotional detachment is about creating a boundary between their actions and your sense of self-worth. One way to do this is through mindfulness. When you notice yourself spiraling, overthinking their words, replaying old conversations, or anticipating their next move, pause. Take a moment to ground yourself in the present. Pay attention to your breath, the sensations in your body, or the sounds around you. This practice helps you break free from the cycle of overthinking and brings you back to what you can control, your own thoughts and feelings. Another powerful tool for building your inner shield is affirmations. Words have power, folks, and repeating positive, affirming statements can reshape the way you see yourself. Try saying this to yourself. I am strong, I am whole, and I am enough. Write it down, repeat it daily, and let it sink into your mindset. Over time, these affirmations become the foundation of your inner strength. Let's talk about self-care, too. When someone distances themselves, it's easy to neglect your own needs while focusing on theirs. But here's the thing. Building your inner shield means putting your well-being first. Take time to do things that bring you joy and make you feel alive. Whether it's exercising, cooking a meal you love, spending time with friends, or picking up a new hobby, These actions remind you that your life is rich and full, regardless of their presence. And don't underestimate the power of gratitude. When you're feeling hurt or uncertain, shifting your focus to what you're thankful for can be transformative. Gratitude helps you see the bigger picture and reminds you that, even in tough times, there are things in your life that bring you strength and joy. Take a moment each day to write down 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small they might seem. Building your inner shield also involves setting boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. Are you checking your phone every 5 minutes, waiting for a message that might not come? Are you spending hours analyzing their behavior? If so, it's time to set limits. Decide to check your phone at certain times of the day, or allocate only a specific amount of time to think about the situation. These boundaries protect your energy and help you focus on what truly matters. Now, let's get practical, folks. Imagine yourself in the middle of a storm. The wind is howling, the rain is pouring, and everything around you feels chaotic. Your inner shield is the sturdy umbrella that keeps you grounded and dry. It doesn't stop the storm, but it allows you to move through it with strength and composure. This is what you're building, a sense of resilience that protects your peace, no matter what's happening around you. Here's your challenge. Take one action today to start building your inner shield. Maybe it's practicing mindfulness, writing down an affirmation, or setting a boundary. Whatever it is, commit to it and watch how it starts to change the way you feel. And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join our community of people who are learning to reclaim their strength and navigate relationships with clarity and confidence. Let's keep building together, folks, one step at a time. Number 4, become the mystery. They can't ignore. All right, folks, let's dive into one of the most overlooked but powerful dynamics in relationships. How to become the mystery they can't stop thinking about. When someone distances themselves, the instinct is often to over-explain, chase after them, or try to remind them why they should stay. But here's the truth. People are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand. The more you pull back and embrace your own space, the more you allow curiosity to work in your favor. Becoming a mystery isn't about playing games or manipulating them. It's about confidently stepping back, showing restraint, and letting your energy speak louder than your words. This shift creates a sense of intrigue that words alone could never achieve. Let's start with intentional silence. If you're always the one initiating conversations or filling in gaps, it's time to stop. Resist the urge to be constantly available. Taking your time to respond, or even choosing not to respond right away, sends a subtle yet powerful message. You're centered in your own life, not waiting on their every move. This doesn't mean ignoring them outright. It means pacing your interactions to match their energy, or even pulling back just a little. Here's a scenario to consider, folks. Imagine someone has distanced themselves, and instead of chasing them, you decide to shift your focus. You stop checking their social media, you stop waiting for their texts, and you start redirecting that energy into things that make you feel alive. Your hobbies, your goals, or spending time with people who uplift you. When you do this, something interesting happens. You not only take back your power, but you also create an air of mystery. They start wondering, what's changed? What are they up to? Another way to cultivate mystery is by being intentional with what you share. If you're naturally an open book, consider leaving some things unsaid. You can still share highlights of your life, but let them fill in the blanks. For example, instead of over-explaining what you've been up to, keep it simple. Things have been great lately. I've been focusing on some exciting projects. This kind of subtlety sparks curiosity and keeps the dynamic fresh. It's important to understand that mystery doesn't just captivate them, it empowers you. It shifts the focus from what they're doing to how you're living your life. This doesn't mean you stop caring about them. It means you start caring more about yourself. And when you live with this kind of quiet confidence, folks, people can feel it. They're drawn to it. You might wonder, won't stepping back make them forget about me? The answer is no. True connections don't fade simply because you create a little distance. In fact, that distance can often reignite their appreciation for you. It gives them the opportunity to realize what they're missing and to reflect on your value in their life. Here's what you can do today. Pick one area where you've been overly available or predictable. Maybe you've been the first to text every morning, or you've always made yourself instantly available for their calls. Pull back just a little. Allow some space for them to notice the shift. Trust me, folks, the results will speak for themselves. And don't forget, mystery is power. Write it in the comments below to affirm your choice to step back and embrace this strength. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next step in this journey. In the upcoming parts, I'll share how to solidify this transformation and reverse the dynamics in your favor. You don't want to miss this, folks. Let's keep moving forward together. Number 5, embrace emotional resilience. When someone distances themselves, the emotional roller coaster can feel overwhelming. One moment you're hurt, the next you're angry, and then suddenly you're doubting your self-worth. But here's the truth, folks. The most powerful thing you can do in this situation is to embrace emotional resilience. Your ability to stay steady, no matter what storms come your way. Think of resilience as your emotional armor. It doesn't mean you don't feel hurt or disappointment. It means you learn how to process those emotions without letting them dictate your actions or your sense of self. Emotional resilience is what allows you to move through challenging situations with grace and strength. So, how do you build this resilience? Let's start with the first step. Acknowledge your emotions. Often, when we feel hurt, we try to push those feelings away or distract ourselves from them. But ignoring your emotions doesn't make them go away. It just buries them deeper. Instead, take a moment to sit with what you're feeling. Name it. Are you sad? Angry? Confused? Recognizing your emotions is the first step toward processing them. Once you've acknowledged your feelings, the next step is to reframe the narrative. When someone pulls away, it's easy to tell yourself a story that reinforces your insecurities. They don't care about me. I'm not good enough. But is that story really true? Most of the time, their distance has more to do with them than it does with you. Reframing is about challenging those negative assumptions and replacing them with empowering thoughts. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm not enough," try this: "Their actions don't define my value." Another way to embrace emotional resilience is by practicing self-compassion. Imagine a close friend is going through the same situation. Would you tell them to get over it or blame themselves for what's happening? Of course not. You'd offer them kindness, patience, and understanding. So why not extend that same compassion to yourself? Remind yourself that it's okay to feel hurt and that healing takes time. Let's also talk about focusing on what you can control. Emotional resilience thrives when you redirect your energy from things you can't control, like their actions, to things you can. This might mean setting boundaries, prioritizing your self-care, or diving into activities that bring you joy. By focusing on what's within your power, you reclaim your sense of agency. Here's a practical exercise for you, folks. Take a piece of paper and draw 2 circles, one labeled "Things I Can Control" and the other labeled "Things I Can't Control." Write down your thoughts about this situation in the appropriate circle. Seeing it laid out visually can be a powerful reminder to let go of what's outside your influence and focus on your own growth. And remember this: emotional resilience doesn't happen overnight. It's something you build day by day, choice by choice. Every time you choose to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively, you're strengthening that resilience. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. Here's your mantra for today, folks. I choose strength over chaos. Drop those words in the comments below to affirm your commitment to emotional resilience. And if this resonated with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next steps in this journey. In the upcoming sections, I'll guide you through even more strategies to regain your peace and transform the way you approach relationships. You don't want to miss this. Folks, let's keep going. Number 6, turn the silence into power. Hey folks, let's talk about something that makes a lot of people uncomfortable: silence. When someone distances themselves, the silence can feel unbearable. You're left wondering, should I reach out? Should I say something? But here's the truth: silence doesn't have to be your enemy. In fact, when used wisely, it can become one of your greatest tools for reclaiming your strength and shifting the dynamic. Let's start with this. Silence speaks louder than words. Think about the last time you experienced silence from someone else. Didn't it leave you wondering? Didn't it make you curious? Even a little unsettled? That's because silence creates space. Space for reflection, for intrigue, and for them to think about you without any pressure from your side. So how do you turn silence into power? First, you stop filling the gaps. If you've been the one always texting, calling, or finding excuses to stay in touch, pause. It's time to step back. Silence gives you the chance to show that you're confident enough to let things breathe. This isn't about punishing them or playing games. It's about showing self-respect and composure. Here's what happens when you embrace silence, folks. You shift the energy in the relationship. Instead of constantly putting yourself out there, you create a balance. They start noticing your absence, and that absence can make a bigger impact than any words ever could. It's like a pause in music. It's not the note that gets your attention, but the space in between. Now, let's address the fear that comes with silence. I know some of you might be thinking, what if they just move on? But here's the thing. True connections don't fade because of silence. If they're truly meant to be part of your life, your silence won't push them away. It'll create an opportunity for them to step forward. And if they don't, that's a sign that you're better off without someone who can't meet you halfway. While you're embracing silence, focus on strengthening your own voice. This is a time to reconnect with yourself, to reflect on what you want and what you deserve. Silence isn't just about what you don't say to them, it's about what you start saying to yourself. Remind yourself daily, I am enough, with or without their attention. Here's a practical exercise for you. The next time you feel the urge to break the silence, pause. Ask yourself, what am I hoping to achieve by reaching out? If it's to seek validation or ease your discomfort, take a deep breath and sit with that feeling instead. Let it pass. Silence, when paired with patience, is a powerful way to regain control. And folks, don't mistake silence for inaction. While you're stepping back, use this time to invest in yourself. Work on your goals, try something new, or reconnect with friends who uplift you. When they see you thriving, even from a distance, it speaks volumes. You're not chasing, you're choosing yourself. So here's what I want you to remember. Silence is strength. Drop those words in the comments below to affirm your commitment to this step. And if you're finding these insights helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next part of this journey. The The next step is all about turning the tables and letting them reach for you. You don't want to miss this. Folks, let's keep building that strength together. Number 7. Let them reach for what's out of their grasp. All right, folks, let's talk about one of the most powerful dynamics in relationships. Letting someone reach for what they can no longer have so easily. When someone distances themselves, your instinct might be to try harder, to send one more text, make one more call, or find a way to remind them of your value. But here's the reality. The more accessible you are, the less they feel the need to reach for you. The real power lies in stepping back and creating space where they have to do the reaching. This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate the situation. It's about shifting your focus from chasing their attention to reclaiming your sense of self. When you stop chasing, you give them the opportunity to reflect, to notice your absence, and to realize what they're missing. And in that space, the balance begins to shift. People naturally value what feels just slightly out of reach. Think about the things you've worked hard to achieve, the ones you had to earn. Didn't they feel more rewarding than the things that came too easily? The same principle applies here. When you stop making yourself so readily available, you allow them to feel the loss of your presence, and that absence often speaks louder than words. Letting them reach isn't about cutting them off or disappearing completely. It's about pulling back just enough to create intrigue, to show that you're not waiting by the phone, and to demonstrate that your life doesn't revolve around their attention. When you carry yourself with quiet confidence, they'll feel it, even from a distance. Start by taking a step back from initiating contact. If you've been the one to text first, pause. If you've been quick to rearrange your plans to accommodate theirs, hold your ground. This doesn't mean you're ignoring them. It means you're prioritizing yourself. It's a subtle but powerful shift that sends a clear message. I value my time and energy. Let's say you're used to texting them every morning to check in. Instead of sending that text, take a moment to reflect on why you feel the need to reach out. Are you seeking validation? Are you afraid of being forgotten? These are valid feelings, but addressing them within yourself, instead of seeking reassurance from them, is a step toward emotional independence. While you're creating this space, focus on building your own happiness. Dive into activities that bring you joy, whether it's picking up a hobby, reconnecting with friends, or working toward a personal goal. When you thrive independently, it not only enriches your life, but also shifts the energy in the relationship. You're no longer seeking fulfillment from them. You're finding it within yourself. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, what if they don't notice? What if they don't reach out? That's a valid concern. But here's the hard truth. If they don't step forward, it's not because you created space. It's because they weren't ready or willing to meet you where you deserve to be. And while that realization can sting, it's also freeing. It allows you to invest your energy into relationships and opportunities that truly value you. True connections aren't fragile. If someone truly values you, your absence won't push them away. It'll remind them of your worth. And if they don't, that's their loss, not yours. What you're doing here isn't about losing them. It's about finding yourself. Take a moment to reflect on where you've been overly available. Have you been the one always initiating contact, rearranging your plans to fit theirs? Write down one specific way you've been overextending yourself, and then commit to pulling back in that area. This isn't about withholding, it's about creating balance. For example, if you've been texting first every day, give it a rest for a few days. Let them notice the shift. And during that time, focus on yourself. Go for a walk, read a book, or spend time with people who uplift you. By shifting your focus inward, you're sending a clear signal to yourself and to them that you value your own peace. Letting them reach isn't about punishing them or teaching them a lesson. It's about honoring your own worth. It's about showing that while you care, you're not dependent on their validation. And that kind of energy, confident, grounded, and self-assured, is incredibly magnetic. Carry this thought with you. My presence is a gift, and it's okay to let others reach for it. Reflect on that as you move forward, and trust that the right people will step up when the time is right. Folks, we've covered a lot today, haven't we? From breaking free from craving their attention to letting them reach for what they can't have, this journey has been all about shifting the focus back to where it belongs, on you. Each step we've discussed isn't just a tactic, it's a way of reclaiming your peace, your confidence, and your power. I know this isn't always easy. Letting go of old habits, creating space, and focusing on yourself takes courage. But remember, every small step you take is progress. You're building a stronger, wiser version of yourself, and that's something no one can take away from you. So, here's what I want you to carry with you. Your worth isn't tied to anyone else's actions. You are whole, capable, and deserving of relationships that meet you with respect and effort. And if someone isn't willing to step up, it's not your loss. It's theirs. Thank you for sharing your time with me today, folks. It means a lot to be part of your journey, and I'm proud of the work you're doing to grow stronger and more self-assured. Keep going, and don't forget, you've got this.